Sir, can we start, sir? Exactly 5:30. Mayappan, sir, can we start?
Yes, ma'am. You're able to see me, right?
Yes, sir, I'm able to see.
Let me stop presenting. Okay, so
Shall I start, sir?
yes, ma'am. Please.
So, good evening and welcome all gathered here in this Google Meet and YouTube live stream platform. Respected Director in Charge NIT Andhra Pradesh, Professor Pramod M. Padole, sir, Registrar in Charge Dr. Dinesh P. Shankar Reddy, sir, Dean RNC and Institute Innovation Council, Patron and Convener Professor G.R.K. Shastri, sir, and our guest speaker of today's event, Mr. Mayappan Maslamani, faculty members, student audience. A very good evening to one and all. As many of us are now aware about NIT Andhra Pradesh, which is said to be the 31st youngest NIT in India, which was started in the year 2015. The Institute Innovation Council was started in this institution in the year 2018. NIT Andhra Pradesh has been supporting innovation, incubation, and startup activities by conducting several ideathons, hackathons, startup expos, and field trips to make the students think about new innovations which can be extrapolated for technology transfer. In this direction, we proceed with the conduction of this session on One Earth, One Family, One Future, ISO and blockchain standards perspective. Now, I would take this opportunity to introduce our today's speaker. Mayappan Maslamani sir is a highly accomplished professional with extensive experience in the field of auditing and compliance, particularly in relation to ISO management system standards since 1998. Currently based in Dubai, UAE, he serves as a lead auditor and client manager at a third-party certification body. Mayappan's expertise lies in advocating and ensuring adherence to various ISO standards, including ISO 9001, ISO 27001, ISO 14001, ISO 45001, ISO 20,001, ISO 18,295, and ISO 37,001, covering across domains like automotive, software, telecom, automobile, education, etc. Since May 2019, Mayappan has taken a keen interest in blockchain technology and he has been an active Government Blockchain Association member. He completed the Blockchain Revolution for Enterprises Specialization and Blockchain Foundation course at Government Blockchain Association. Mayappan serves as a standards and certification work group leader and holds the position of Director of Standards in Government Blockchain Association. As a volunteer in the Government Blockchain Association, he contributes to the development and advancement of blockchain standards and initiatives. Furthermore, he is one of the founding architects of the Blockchain Maturity Model, a global standard designed to assess the maturity of blockchain solutions. Now, I request the speaker of the session to start his speech. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. So, namaskaram andarku. Vanakkam. Thanks a lot for the kind introduction of mine. In fact, I'm really pleased to hear that. Even if I would have done, I would not have done justice to my introduction. Thanks a lot for that, Dr. Subhashana. And coming into this particular session, of course, I'm really privileged to have this opportunity, which has been given by NIT Andhra Pradesh, and really eager to provide some of my knowledge and the experience what I have gained so far. So that is what I'm known as. That is why I'm known as knowledge and experience sharer. Okay, so this is about the starting. So I think the time is up, so we will start up this particular session with the presentation which I hold. I'm just going to share the screen. Since few disclosures, since I'm going to share the screen, I will not be able to see the other people. So if you any questions, any clarifications are required, you can always raise your hand, and I hope our associate dean will take care about that to inform me about any questions which have been raised. And of course, I would like to have this as an interactive session. It's not going to be a one-way approach. It is going to be a two-way approach. I like the participant to stop and ask me questions. I don't mind on anything in between which is being raised. And if not, you can have the question and answer sessions at the end of this particular session where we will try to understand. And the mode of presentation would be mostly on English, and wherever required, I can speak in Tamil or Hindi, Telugu little bit. So this is how I will be going ahead. So are you able to see my screen? I
Yes,
hope
sir.
the screen is visible. Okay,
Yes.
great. Fine. So um, to start with, of course, I would like to take this particular quote, the quote which I have placed here, to have. This is about one Earth, one family, one future, and this is basically initiative on the G20 summit in India, and we have some referential name of Vasudevaya Kutumbakam. So that is also related to the one world, one family. So the whole interest on my session, what I'm trying to place over here is I'm trying to place the experience what I gained in the ISO standards and the blockchain, how it is going to enhance innovation, startup, and entrepreneur. So this is the holistic approach, and there are around 23 slides available. So I'll be crossing those slides with my information sharing. And to start with, to have a great next generation, we will enhance the future with our experience and allow them to build a better place to live and lead a peaceful life of excellence. So that is a part of the way which we are all thinking about, right? So that is what we are going to have it. So let us understand about G20. Okay, what is G20? G20 is nothing but a group of 20 countries. Okay, 20 countries in the premier forum of international economic cooperation. It plays an important role in shaping and strengthening global architecture and governance on all major international economic issues. So that is the role of the group, G20. The 20 countries are very contributing, in which we have a prestigious role from India. How is India involved? So the theme of India's G20 presidency is Vasudevaya Kutumbakam, or One Earth, One Family, One Future. This closely ties with the lifestyle for environment, with a focus on sustainable and environment friendly lifestyle, harmony within the human family, and honest conversations about climate change and global security. So this is one portion of India's involvement, and the second portion is India as the G20 president. So India has been our G20 president. Will prioritize a range of issues in diverse sectors, including education, energy, agriculture, trade, digital economy, health and environment, as well as employment, tourism, anti-corruption, and women's empowerment. So most of the things are being already practiced in India. Even then, as a G20 president, we are taking over this particular opportunity and trying to bring out something more from India. The principles of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The principles of Vasudeva Kutumbakam offer a roadmap to a better future by promoting unity, cooperation, and mutual respect. We can work towards resolving conflicts and reducing inequalities. This will create a world that is more powerful, harmonious, and inclusive. The phrase Vasudeva Kutumbakam is made up of three Sanskrit words. Vasudeva, Vasuda is earth or world, Aiva, like, and Kutumbakam, large extended family. The verse mentions finds the mentioning in the Maha Upanishad, version 6 of 72, and is further referred to in Hitopashada and other literary works of India. So, one earth, one family, one future is basically not a new thing. That is what I felt when I was going through on preparing this particular slides. In fact, it's an eye opener to me also, uh, and trying to understand what we had earlier. So, is this one EFF new? That's what the first question which I raised from my side, and I could find that we had something in the past. So, we had a very good terminology called as joint family. So, that is the one of the very important structure of the Indian um, country, where you can find at least 3 to 4 living generations, including grandparents, parents, uncles, aunts, nieces, and nephews, all living together in the same household, utilizing a common kitchen, often spending for a common purse contributed by all and living under one roof. That is very, very important. So nowadays you will be finding plenty of the flat concept where you have all could find plenty of people living under one roof, but unfortunately unknown relationships. But earlier days we have joint families which are very popular, and that is what I found as one EFF, one earth, one future, one family. So this is what I felt. I hope my feeling is also pitching into your minds. Why is one EFF required? Okay, so one earth, one family, one future. Why it is required? So basically, the whole interest of starting this is supporting role in shaping and strengthening global architecture and governance on all major international economic issues. Okay, so the holistic approach is nowadays globalization is happening around, and each one are able to travel from one place to other place easily, and with required documentations, and that is also an economic strength which are well coming around. It is deemed to be the duty of every Indian to feel the spirit of the theme Vasudevaya Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, and one future, and make it feel within themselves and enact according by spreading the message in all possible manner. Okay? So that is also one more initiation why one EFF is required, and to highlight the role of innovation, entrepreneurship, and startup to achieve the goals. Basically, we always say the country's economic depends upon the business. Okay? So, the more you have the business people, which is basically the start. So, we all, in the earlier days, we had the concept of Varnas, where it talks about each person is referred with his activities, and also his work. So we had a family business oriented concept, and each person was doing a business. And over a period when the population was there, so we tried to pitch into a concept of having jobs. Okay? So basically, in a family business, all the family members will be playing a role of an employee, and the family leader will have the role of the employer, and that's how it has been happening. So that is one of the requirement why one EFF is being pitched in, to highlight the role of innovation, which we have already talked about, and create future generation of entrepreneurs, considering humanity, honesty, and trust. So these three things, I think, humanity and trust is basically talked everywhere. Honesty is a very rarely used word nowadays. So we need to bring inside that also when we are going to have one earth, one family, and one future. Focus on sustainable and environment friendly lifestyle, harmony within the human family, and harness conversations about climate change and global security. So everyone should be aware about climate change. Basically, the interest of climate change is even the climatic conditions of India has different scenarios nowadays, where you don't get where you the seasons are changing accordingly. So you would have seen that, and the global security, of course, the global security is also a specific point which requires to be considered when you want to become one earth, one family, and one future. So global security can be even talked about if you are able to travel across the world with an easiest way of entry, which is called as visa process. So that would make or ensure the security of each and every place. So which may lead towards the one earth, one family, and one future. The key points of focus. So where are we? What is the focus? As I've already iterated. So we are focusing on innovation, entrepreneurship, and startup. How is that we are focusing? So I'm going to brief about few points related to ISO standards, how these can be used in when you want to start up, when you want to start up an organization, or when you want to innovate something, or when you want to lead into an entrepreneurship concept. So let me start with what is an ISO standard. Is anyone having any doubts so far? Any clarifications? Any questions? Okay, so the best way of understanding that everyone understood is silence. Is there anyone to ask a question? Great. So let us go ahead. What is ISO standard? ISO is nothing but it is an abbreviation of International Organization for Standardization. Okay, this particular organization is located in Geneva, and who are they? What do they do? They do something like they formulate different type of standards for the societal improvement and place it into their repository, and you can always buy those standards and use it for your development. The standards are of different types. They have product standards, organizational standard. They have some kind of guidelines. As plenty of types of standards are available in ISO. So commonly, you could have seen in multiple areas, multiple industries, multiple institutions also have taken few certifications. Like one to be mentioned is ISO 9001 2015, which is basically a quality management system standard, which is commonly seen across nowadays. It works to formulate standards with the help of the technical committee. So how does the ISO organization works is they formulate a technical committee with some number of members who are from the industry, then the certification bodies, from the standards bodies, from each nation also to participate in that. And for each standard, they have a concept of reviews stages, and they put it. They start with the draft, then into the publicly available standard, then they go into the release. It takes about multiple number of years for a standard to get released, and with the multiple iterations as such. And the average year for reviewing a release standard, it takes around 5 years. Okay? So it takes 5 years to really look into those kind of informations and take a call. Then, out of plenty, few standards are directly proportional to innovation, entrepreneurship, and startup. How? That we will see in the future slide. And also, you have to understand that the G20 concept of sustainable development goals. There are around 17 sustainable goals which have been produced, and these are being supported by the ISO standard. So, if you are going to follow this standard, then automatically you will be able to achieve those sustainable development goals also. So, over a period, why we are referring to these ISO standard and sustainability goals is, over a period, a business, when it is being started, you need to contribute something to the society. Okay, so which is nowadays called as CSR activities, corporate social responsibility activities. If you go into any corporate organizations, you can find those things. Now it is at the corporate level, but over a period, it may drill down to the any type of organization. They have to showcase something on the societal improvement or the social responsibility side. And next, what are the common standards? The common standards which are being followed in any type of industry, I've already quoted about ISO 9001 2015, which is basically called as quality management system. Okay, so this particular standard, and in fact, before that, I would like to also quote: I'm not here to promote or market this particular standard. Okay, so I'm trying to provide you some information about how the standards can be used in an industry. Okay, because these standards are also being certified. So it's more than certification. Implementation of the standard is very, very important, which will lead to a success of an organization or a business. So that is the interest of placing these standards. I'm not promoting on the certification process as such. And coming into the cause is basically society improvement. Okay, and coming into this particular standard of ISO 9001 2015, it is applicable to any type, size of organization. Okay, the single requirement would be, you have to have a customer, you need to have supplier, and you can always get this standard implemented inside the organization. And its applicability is for any type of product, any type of service which can be delivered. So basically, delivery is very important. So producing a product and producing a, or rendering a service, if you're not able to deliver it, then it is not showcasing a full cycle of business. Okay, so that is the interest. And this quality management system is like very, very generic and common standard, which will enhance an organization's business. Okay? So from where? From where is, from the starting point of the version control. Okay? Basic version control. Version control is called as document control. So this particular is the place where we start, and we end to the excellence of the organization. So it goes until the excellence of the organization. So that is a very important standard. Then comes the ISO 14001 2015, which is basically an environmental management system. So when an organization is being built, you will come across plenty of consumptions. Okay, what type of consumption? Resource consumptions, and these resource consumptions will cost to the organization or the business. So, as an entrepreneur or a startup, you need to understand what would be a consumption of resource for an organization. And whenever you consume something, you always generate some waste. Okay? So the generation of waste starts when you consume to produce a product or a service. You generate a waste. In a product industry, we can directly quote, so it's very easy to identify. So you have water consumption, power consumption, then you have raw material consumption. Raw material can be natural, maybe processed raw material. All these type of consumptions are there, and parallelly you have a generation of waste. So you have a normal waste, general waste it is called. Second type of waste is called as hazardous waste, which costs the organization to spend some money on disposing the waste. So you cannot just throw it outside. If it is a hazardous waste, you need to take care and send it to an authorized agency where the waste can be disposed, which is cost to the company. Okay. So basically, it is also a business concern. So when you generate more waste, then you have to spend more to dispose the waste. So this is for a normal industry. So when you come into a service industry, how to interpret this particular consumption and waste? So in a service industry, you can always find that you use plenty of carbon. So you emit carbon. So how do we emit carbon? So basically, we start with our vehicle. So we drive a car to the facility where we want to give a service. It may be a teaching service, it may be a IT service, it may be even a hospital. Okay, even a hospital is a service organization where you consume power to deliver some service. So all these things can be considered, and carbon emission, how much of carbons we emit to the atmosphere, can also be understood, which is basically called as we can consider that also as a waste generation. So these are the things which are coming around on this particular environmental management system, and the focus is how the business gains a benefit out of maintaining an environmental management system. Okay, so when you are planning out your business, you need to always understand what would be the environmental damage which the business is going to do, because without damaging the environment you cannot do a business, right? So without consuming water or without consuming power, you cannot run a business. That is for sure. But at least you should know what is the specific level which has to be maintained to provide a correct product and a correct service. Okay. So, for example, if you are going to travel to deliver a service around 10 times, where it should have been happened in 2 times, then your travel expense, travel cost, travel emission, carbon emission, everything comes into a consideration, and which needs to be becomes a business concern also. So where the cost of the company goes lost. So this environmental management system is a wonderful management system which always enhances the organization with respect to environment. Apart from this, it also improves the society. So when you are able to save some kind of resource, when you are able to reduce some kind of waste, then automatically it gets a benefit, gives a benefit to the particular place, and also to the particular state, also to the particular country. So the ripple effect will be available across an country. So that is how it is looked as an environmental management system. And coming into the next standard, it is called as ISO 45001 2018, basically an occupational health and safety management system which deals about occupational health and safety to all the interested parties who are involved in a product delivery or a service delivery. So it is also bounded with the business. So what is the interest upon understanding an occupational health or occupational safety? In case, okay, touch wood, nothing happens. But in case if a person is going to meet with an incident, which is so called as accident, then there is a loss to the organization in treating the person first. Secondly, identifying what are the other impacts which have happened. Maybe a mission is down, or maybe a service is down. Then communicating to the authorities that it's a reportable accident and we have to take care. Apart from those things, also the lost man hours or person days. So the number of hours or number of days where the person is not going to be available for that particular activity is also a loss to the organization. So this is also business concern oriented standard. So how does the standard take care is very simple. It tries to identify what are the hazards. Hazard is nothing but source from where an incident can happen. So colloquially, everyone talks about accident. In standard, we term it as incident. Okay, so anything, it can be a first aid, it can be a major accident, minor accident, a fatal. All those things can be covered into this, and we call it as incident. So this standard will try to identify the source. We call it as hazard. In standard terminology, it is called as hazard. So the source from where the and risk can happen. Risk is nothing but effect of uncertainty. In terms of occupational health and safety, we call it as ill health or injury. Okay. So to avoid the risk, we try to identify the hazard and try to put some control so that no incident is going to happen. So that is a holistic approach. So I'm just giving a brief. So if you want to understand completely, you need to go through the standard. Then only you will understand the completeness, how the standard is going to benefit the organization, business, or even the entrepreneur. So what is the next level of approach is there is one more standard which is called as ISO 27001:22. Sorry. This basically is a information security management system standard, which is ensuring to avoid any security breaches by any unintentional cause. Okay. So whenever you come across a business, you try to add employees, right? More and more employees so that your business will grow. When you're adding employees, you or anyone on the business field, they try to understand that yes, the person is good. We have completed an interview, and at last we also accept the employee, believing he will not do any intentional breach, security breach. Okay? Intentionally, he will not pull the organization down. That is the belief what we have, and go ahead. But always there is a possibility unintentionally we provide information to others. The very, very easiest and simple concept of understanding, I will say, as an example, that social engineering, a very, very common example. It's an each every day you can find, and whoever people are hearing from here, I think you can relate it from your past history in events, or in future if you are coming across, you will find it very funny. Okay. Social engineering. What is social engineering? Social engineering is a very simple concept. So whenever we are trying to go in a public place, we always try to chit chat, right? So we always try to chit chat, and we try to um, exhaust ourselves and vent out. They call it a vent out also. So during that time, the people, if they start chit chatting or venting out about the organizational information, then there is a possibility someone may overhear where he is not at all involved into that particular talk. But what happens is when A and B are talking, a C he overhears and he goes and discuss some information about that discussion to a person D. And this D may be a competitor to A and B. So there is always a possibility of information getting leaked out when you are discussing. Always you can see there are some good amount of films also which capture this kind of social engineering where two guys who are available, they just go and talk aside, and the person standing next to that them, they are not aware who is standing, and they start speaking about the complete information, and they give a complete information about what is the plan to rob a bank. Okay, so these are all possible things, scenarios which are available on the movies, but this also does happens in a regular day-to-day life. In an organization industries, there are plenty of situations where these kind of information have been shared. Social engineering is around contributor about 50 to 60% in any hacking. Okay, so a hacker can be a very high level of skilled person to hack a system, but if he is not able to do a right social engineering, he may not be able to reach the right level. So social engineering is a concept which is basically kept for the hackers to get inside. Okay, so there is always possibility you get a spam email, and if you are going to click one email, you always get into multiple breaches. Okay, so these kind of things are happening. So those are also a social engineering. So someone calls to you and asks for can you give me the information about so and so person. If you are sharing the personal data, that is also a social engineering concept where they become known to you and try to get out with information of the organization to deface the organization. Okay, so those kind of things, that is also a risk. Okay, that is also an effect of uncertainty. So that is also a risk which will be understood in this particular information security management system, and we will try to put some controls. Basically, information security management system takes care of the attitude of the people to avoid any unintentional costs. So if you see, go through any kind of supermarket or any kind of places wherever you are going around, you can find that there is a display board available. This place is under CCTV surveillance. So it is the CCTV cameras which are placed are not to capture theft. So it is to ensure to avoid a theft. Even unintentionally, someone should not pick something. So the attitude changes, right? So when you see something, even if you are willing to take something, you will be always cautioned with that particular board saying that you're under surveillance. Okay, so these are the attitudinal changes which are very much required in a business. Okay, so if you come across these four standards, there is a single terminology which is very common, and I hope everyone would have found that particular information. The common terminology is anyone able to speak out? What is the common terminology in this? Among all these four standards, anyone is able to identify from the participants? Here also I'm hearing silence. You can participate. Anyone can volunteer yourself. Anyone is able to find a common thing again among these four standards? I'm not able to hear anyone. I hope am I audible? Dr. Sudarshana, am I audible? Hello? Can anyone speak? Ah, yes, Padmaja. Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you
that's
are audible.
wonderful. So, can anyone tell about what is common in these four standards? Okay, I think maybe it's not visible clearly to you all.
Management,
But
sir.
what is, ma'am? Pardon?
It's a management quality common in.
Perfect. So congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank
In fact, management. Okay, so management is a common word across all the four standards. What is management? Management is nothing but the top level of an organization. So it can be top level of an organization, top level of the business, top level of any place. You have a top creamy layer. Okay, that's also called as creamy layer. So management. Okay, so the why this is common and why it is here. So the purpose of this is for the entrepreneurs, startups, and innovators. Okay, so that is why it is here. So the management terminology is, it says that these standards are meant for the management system. Okay, there is one more word also along with management: system. System is also a common word which is available across. So if you add together, then you have a success ratio in a very well advanced pattern. So that is the holistic interest of management system. Okay, so management, if they are alone, it may become a different pattern. When it is with the management and system together, then you have a wonderful excellence in your product or service. So that is how it is being promoted. So that is the one part which I wanted to specifically state. Let's see what is next. The next portion talks about something specific to industries. Okay, so these standards are a little bit specific to an industry. So maybe if any entrepreneur over here or any startup organization which you want to plan, the team is over here, then you can always think about if you are planning for any aviation related product or service, you may require a standard which talks about AS 9 and 9100. Okay, so that is one standard which talks about that. And if you are going to open up a IT service management organization, that is something like a BPO or any organization or a department, also even an IT department, who's going to provide a service in with respect to the information technology, they can opt for ISO 20000 dash 1. That is also standard, and this can be used for strengthening the process. So it is process oriented and it strengthens the process of delivery. Then you have a standard called as IATF 16949, which is basically a standard meant for automotive industries. Okay, if you are going to become a manufacturing organization for an automotive supply chain, then you have to go into this particular standard. And you have one more standard which is meant for ISO 22301, which is basically meant for business continuity. This is a common, this can be a common standard also. You can use it as a common standard. Apart from this, you have multiple number of standards which are available on the ISO website. It is iso.org. That is organization, iso.org organization. That is the website which you can find multiple number of standards. But you need to understand which standard to be used, how it should be used. You have to improve your competency on understanding the standards when you want to establish. But the information or the requirement should start from the top level, that is the management. If the management is not aware about what is the benefit it is going to get from these standards when they are implemented in a business, then the next level will not be able to understand. Okay, So that is the interest why a standard should be known and understood from the top level. That is the management level. The management level means the startup, entrepreneurs, or innovators. So they should know how these standards are going to benefit them. If they are not understanding the benefit, they only feel it as a paperwork. Okay, so they call it as a paperwork or documentation work, which is burdening the whole organization. So I always say very simple terminologies in a business. If you are not going to place your attendance in an attendance register manually, then you may not get your salary. Okay, so that is the interest of documentation. So the interest of documentation is there should be a rippling effect of benefit or a result. Okay, so for that is the purpose of documentation. So if you are not going to get your salary taxation papers, you cannot file your returns. So these are basic concepts. So there is a minimum level of requirement on documentation. The same attendance register, with the introduction of technology, you can keep it as biometric access, or you can keep it as optometric access. Biometric, optometric, you can keep fingerprint access control to record the attendance, or you can keep one person to monitor that every person is coming inside or not manually. So that is also a possibility. So with the technology, without technology also can be managed. Okay, so documentation is very, very important to the level what it is going to produce. Okay, so if it is going to produce a pay slip, then the attendance register is very important. Same way we have to understand for each and every product which is being produced. So this is about the industry specific standard. Am I with the time? I'll just check.
Yes, sir. You are with the time.
Yeah. Very good. So
Another 10
we
minutes.
have 10 minutes as there. Let's move around. Why standards? Okay, so basically I've already given you plenty of information, but the standards start with a process, and the product is defined as a result of a process. Product or service is defined as a result of process. And then this is a very good quote which I have recently framed. If a proper process is documented and practiced effectively, automating the matured process will lead to seamless data management and easy translation through an automated system, regardless of the data volume. However, if data is managed manually without a proper process and is later attempted to be translated into an automated process, potential failure causes may become integrated into the automation, and they are called as teething problem. Okay, when you develop a software, you always come into a teething problem. They say functionality wise they may not be able to reach. What next? Adopting a management system and process driven approach within an organization helps to reduce or eliminate the dependency on person and increase the system dependency. Basically, I'm not trying to remove person. I'm stating that increasing the system dependency. System dependency means tomorrow any new person may join into the organization to provide a service as an employee. At that time, he should not be again trained by a superior. If your process is properly documented and kept with the excellent way, then automatically he can just go through it and try to deliver the same consistency of production or service from the previous person. So that is the holistic approach. So system dependency is always required than the person dependency. This is a part of our organization excellence, which I'm working around on the research and development, where I'm trying to say that input, activity, and output. Okay, so that is a line of word for a process. For every process, there will be like this, and if you are able to understand, we are trying to reach out organizational excellence by a single percentage. Okay, so if you are able to reach with a single percentage, converting all the data which is being collected at the bottom level, this process A, B, C, D, E are nothing but called as departments. Okay, in colloquial terminology, it is called as department. When you come to a standardized terminology, we call it as process. So we term every place as every line of activity which has an input and output as a process. So these are all a little bit depth information. You can always go through the informations over a period. And innovative way of looking at business. This is a very important, very good thing, which is recently developed and provided by ISO 37000 2021. This is basically an governance guidelines. It's a governance for the organizations. So you can see here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 layers, and these are all 4 key principles, I can say. What is the outcome? Ethical behavior, responsible stewardship, effective performance. And subsequently, you can see you should have a primary governance principle, which is having foundational governance principles and some enabling governance principles. So, which will give out these 3 governance outcomes. So, the governance is very important, and nowadays governance becomes like shareholder, stakeholder, interested parties, wherein you can we have to fit into that. I do not know when these things are going to happen, because these are all the business people. They have to venture and try to understand how to leverage these kind of governance models. This is basically called as shareholder, stakeholder, interested party. If you see, you cannot find an employee, right? So you don't find an employee over here. So that is the concept behind. In fact, I always have a call on this particular point that you can also develop a non-employee organization. The employee is not required. If it's a stakeholder, then he can always perform his job according to that scenarios. This is the innovative way of looking at business. And coming into the business or life, we need always innovation. So what is always innovation? Innovation always is profit. So whenever you hear the terminology profit, you hear just like politics, right? So politics means bad. But unfortunately, you have to believe and accept that politics is not bad. There is 2 terminologies: bad politics, good politics. Okay. Similarly, in profit also, when you hear profit, it is not bad. In business, you have to gain profit. That is the interest of profit. If you are not going to get the profit, then of course you are not going to run the business. You are going to go into loss, or you are going to stop the business, or you are going to sell the business. So profit is basically a concept which is required to be understood in a clarity. What clarity? Who is getting the profit? So normally, if you ask any person, they will say the owner gets the profit. But basically, you have to understand that the employee gets the profit first. Whether the owner gets his payment from the customer or not, he has to pay the employee so that the employee will work for the next year or next month, right? So the profit first goes to the employee, then to the interested parties. So what is the interested party? Whoever supports the organization's goal, they are called as interested party. Who wants the organization to earn more profit, right? So who are the interested party? Like suppliers. Whoever supplied to the organization, they are all called as interested party. So this is the second person who gets the profit. Then at last, the employer gets the profit. So that is why when he's getting the last profit, it should be a little bit more than whatever other people get. So you need to understand how the profit is distributed. And you also have to understand what is ethical profit, what is non-ethical profit. Ethical profit is process oriented. If you are going with the process, okay, instead of department, if you start calling the in the organization as process, then including these kind of documentation, in putting up your business with a good amount of standards, then you get into process oriented, where ethical profit will be there. Non-ethical profit, non-process oriented. I do not know how many number of employees to be employed. So I keep on recruiting. And at last, I put few people in the project and remaining people in the bench. Now, who will bear the cost of the bench? It will go to the customer, where it is going to be a non-ethical profit. Okay. So this particular concept of non-ethical profit should be understood. How you will understand? When you get a hit and so-called, they say, there is a good terminology, market crush or market crashes, and plenty of terminologies are available in the market. So when it happens, they immediately sack all the people. Okay, layoff. So give layoff to the bench. Only the project people will be working. So then they understand. So these people are not required now. So we will send them out. Hire and fire is not a good concept of any business. A business good concept is develop a business in a pattern that will reach the goal with the same and increased team. Okay, with at least the same or increased team. Increased team means it should be proportionate to the orders, customer. All those things, proportionality should be there. So when you want to understand all those things, you need to have some kind of management system which will guide and back you up. Organization structure innovation. Okay, this is where we have some kind of innovative things. Non-employee organization, crowd-funded business, virtually shared business, smart business approach, family business. In those days, you would have seen a culture of family business, which is now little bit gone down in India. Now corporate is more in. I think after corporate, when you join a corporate, they will say, welcome to the family, right? So this is what you will hear. Whenever you join a corporate company, you will hear one word, welcome to the family. So now onwards, we are all one family. So the concept was family business. Okay, so I hope this is going to again retrieve back. So if your family business are not going to be encouraged, then automatically it will be taken up by someone else. So they will claim that is the family business, and that is how it runs. Population is the strength. Think positive. Take action to manage properly instead of controlling nation or family. Okay, so there are some concepts of single child which came in, and now it is, if you see, the generation has changed, and now there are 2 children available and 3 children, because they don't have any mama chachas or mama mommy. So they're all defaced. So this is how the population has to be managed. Think positive. Okay, so human innovator, of course, self-sovereign identity. This is one of the concepts which is developed in the latest blockchain technology, which I will speak in few more minutes. I hope the time is okay for everyone. Yes, we are there. I hope you don't mind I take some more time, right? Can anyone from the group say, can I take some more time? Mr. Ram Prasad, Ravalla, or Padmaja? Yeah, great. Padmaja gave me a thumbs up. That's good. Thank you, ma'am. So you can see human inheritance, self-sovereign identity. Okay, so that is SSI. So develop each individual equally among the society. Create an excellence of each individual's capability. Build you as you, and create the self-sovereign identity for yourself to travel across the world with an international recognition. Okay. Human to have the identity as human rather than identified by his or her origin, that would create an individual to be a stakeholder for his or her living. self-realization and self-appreciation is very, very important. Okay, so when you are looking into business, you have to have your own self-realization where you are standing. Okay, and you have to understand what you do is good or bad. Okay, so good and bad are both very equally matched. So every person has positivity and negativity, good, bad, both are there. So never think that everything will happen good, everything will be good, or whatever you do is going to be only good. No, never. Okay, so you will be doing something bad also. So you need to self realize what you do, and you have to self appreciate what you have done good. So you have to be capable of filtering both the sides so that you will be able to manage the business. For example, if you are an investor, you should only ask profit. You should not ask about how the operation runs. If you are a technical person, you want to begin a business, you need to be very careful on understanding who has to be engaged in the finance department or in the accounts department. Otherwise, you will be producing good product, that person will be earning more money. Okay, so you need to have a clarity in understanding all those things, and create your team with these kind of qualities where each person will be a star of the organization. Okay, how we were taught to measure. Before that, I have one point. There are two ways of living. Okay, living on your experience and living on others' experience. You can see at the bottom, I have used some line. The line says source LinkedIn post with the May add-ons. So actually, I have taken someone else's experience and I've added some flavor to that with my thought process. And you can see the thin lines, right? The thin lines are all my additions, which are a little bit bright and bold in nature, like a profit, societal status for improvement, profit sharing, family time, passion and hobby. All these things are my inclusions. So the experience was already available. I have lived on that experience by adding more value. Okay. So otherwise, I should have spent time to create this particular picture. Maybe I would have spent more time. Okay, more time or more cost. So now I am living on others' experience. This is very, very important point. So why you need to understand from experienced people, the senior people who are available have to be always utilized. So you cannot say that one has been retired, So the people are not, the retirement is not of the age. The retirement is how much they work and how they work as they worked in their youth. Until they work, they have the same age. So that is a very important point which has to be taken. So please ensure you are using experienced people inside your team when you are going to build your organization. And a better measure of this is not only for the entrepreneur, and this is not only for the startup or innovator. Any person should have this spread out. Okay, so at least your health should be half of your pie chart, and little bit of societal status is required. Then free time is very important. Please spend some time with your family. Liking what you do is very, very important. If you are not liking what you do, then you are not doing the right thing, so it may be bad also. Fine. So, what is blockchain? Blockchain. Oh my God, this is a very passionate subject. It's my, I can say, I have, I spent much amount of time, almost 3 years, on this particular blockchain, and I'm willing to speak more. But I'll just give few things. Okay. As of now, there are multiple directional views. So, if you put the word blockchain in the market, you will get plenty of information. Please take a very cautious decision when you are trying to understand blockchain. Okay, So that is why I'm just talking about what is blockchain. Blockchain is the next level of software solution where the transactions, data distribution, trust, immutability, and transparency are being embedded with cryptography, consensus, and resilience, considering an incentive mechanism and peer-to-peer. Okay, so these are all the concepts which are behind the blockchain technology, and what a blockchain solution holds or includes is one protocol would be there, an application would be there, which is called a solution, which is built on the application, then the technologies that support interfacing with other solutions, people, process, and infrastructure supporting the solution. So basically, all these factors are going into the blockchain solution as such. Okay, and this is a source from where I have taken it, gbaglobal.org, which has a maturity model overview document from where this particular definition I have picked up. The second bullet is from my own interpretation, and the other point statement, a blockchain solution includes, is taken from this overview document. And I have placed a small diagram on the right side. It is just, you can see, input, activity, output. That is how I see it. Okay, so I'm very impressed on the blockchain consideration because it will be very much similar to the ISO standard requirement. Okay, if you take ISO 9001 standard requirement, so you will be able to reach to this place. And blockchain, of course, as of now, it is in a stage where you would have seen internet around 25 years ago. Okay, so where no one was using it, okay, until someone gave a freebie. Freebie was email. That started the communication. That is where the internet started, geared up a lot. Okay, so every people started using it, and slowly it developed into a very huge network, and now it is almost ruling the world, which needs to be a little bit cautionly used. Okay, so you have to see blockchain now around in that particular scenario where internet started, but it will be the almost, I can say, it will be the next future. It talks about trust, which is a very difficult word in normal conventional software application, because normal conventional software applications, you will be always you'll be able to do something from the behind scenarios, like an admin who's centrally governing it. Now when blockchain comes inside, it is going to be distributed, so which is basically wide around, multiple number of nodes and multiple number of decision makers, consensus will be formulated. There are multiple things. Even in ISO, we have some standards which are related to that, which talks about blockchain, where the terminologies are being initiated. In fact, Government Blockchain Association is one of the association which has developed a model which is called as blockchain maturity model. The opportunity for all the entrepreneurs, it's open source. So it's open source. You can always take the information from the website, and you will be able to understand about blockchain, how the blockchain is being seen in the outer world. As of now, there are no other standards available. The blockchain maturity model is the one and only standard. In fact, this particular there is one more standardization organization where United Nations has an internet governance forum in which a dynamic coalition has been formed and hosted by GBA, that is Government Blockchain Association, where they are talking about blockchain assurance and standardization. These are the two places which are presently speaking around on this concept of blockchain. If you require any kind of doubts, any clarifications, you can always pitch into me asking about blockchain, because if I start talking about blockchain, it's of more information. Okay, I think these informations would suffice for an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, if you are into IT development or in an organizational development, you can always use it. How to use it is, there are some few use cases which can be considered for a blockchain. Blockchain is something like putting up a transparent information to the public, incentivizing them with some kind of tokenomics. Okay, token. So that is one of the important factor. In fact, if you see the primary principle which the blockchain maturity model talks about is decentralization and distribution. And secondary principle is consensus, cryptography, immutability, incentive mechanism, peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer means person to person. So he can directly transact, right? So, for example, if I would like to transact with some person with your side, I should have a belief and do the transaction, right? So now we are going to change that belief. Instead of belief, we are going to say that in the public network, we will place that we both have transacted. So it's openly available. Any person can see it and understand that there is a transaction happened, right? So, for example, as of now, when you're sharing any WhatsApp image, okay, so when you're sharing any WhatsApp image, you share a copy to some person, right? So you don't share the original picture. So the original picture sharing transaction never happens at all. But you assume that tomorrow, if you're going to say that I'm sending this picture to so and so person where it has some value, the picture of your house plan or picture of your factory plan, that becomes a data which is getting projected in a public blockchain where it says that so and so plan has been submitted for approval in the government. Then everyone knows that that transaction has been completed and the approval is pending at the government side. So once the government completes their approval, then it comes back to you, and that transaction is also captured on a blockchain where it becomes a public view. So any person can see that particular transaction, who has done what. So this is a transparency project. There are projects available where we call it as private blockchain or permission blockchain. So we also have hybrid blockchains. So public is meant for some public information where transparency is required, but there are some use cases which are working around on healthcare, those kind of things. Even in sustainabilities, we have some use cases which are being considered. So transparency as required can be managed. Okay, so that is also very important. And one more point is resilience. No single entity or event may interrupt or prevent access to the blockchain. So the interest of the blockchain is distributed. So when it is distributed and decentralized, so it is not at all going to be governed by a single person, or a third party is not required to do any transaction. So everything will be openly done and your informations are going to be secure. So that is the holistic view what I can talk about on blockchain. Of course, for all the entrepreneurs, startups, innovation, my first word is opportunity utilization. Okay. Please note, today I'm here because of utilizing an opportunity given by the institution, right? So if not, I'm not going to be here. So always opportunity utilization is very important. Avoid self-deletion. If I would have thought that I am not really on this, I do not know G20, what is this happening around, then I would have sat back and missed the opportunity. Okay. So I always give the opportunity to others to delete. So today I have presenting you the information completely, and I'm trying to understand whether all are getting some takeaway. I could find two interactions, very good interactions. I really appreciate their interactions in this session. So I hope all others are listening and gathering some information. Of course, you can always give us a thought process whether you are deleting me or you are able to understand and take some information. Creators shall never worry about deletion. Okay, that is one more point. So whenever a deletion happens, as a creator, you can always recreate it. Okay, the same intent, same content may be there, but having more value and more vision or a newer vision. Okay, so please ensure that as a creator is nothing but innovator, entrepreneur, or startup. So they can always create or recreate anytime, even if it is deleted. So that is the capacity of a innovator or entrepreneur or startup. Self appreciation, self promotion. Please note, it is very, very important. always do not understand that you need to be an innovator or you need to be an entrepreneur, you need to be a startup, then only you will called as a businessman. Okay. If you are able to understand where you are getting your profit and how you are managing your business, then you become a businessman. As of now, I am an employee. I do audits on management system, but I'm a very huge craze about doing business. Unfortunately, till now I have not done a direct business. Okay, but what happened is the once I self realized what I am doing, okay, and appreciated myself, then I got to know that I am doing audit on management system for each organization, which is nothing but I am trying to understand whether they are doing business rightly or wrongly. Are they going to be with the profit or loss? That is nothing but I hold one day of their business as the top management. Okay, so or some days of audit days. So that is where I understood and I started running multiple number of business where I don't have share or I don't have a profit, but I get an self promotion appreciation. Each person in the business satisfying others and earning profit. Okay, so that is what I would like to say, that each person is a business person. So do not worry that if you're going to satisfy others and if you're going to earn some profit and you're understanding the profit where you earn, then you become a business person. All things happen for a reason. So if you are not able to fit into the first level of management, you will be on the second level of management. Somewhere you will be fitting it, but you need to understand where you are fitting and what is the profit you earn. All things happen for the reason, that is the purpose I say. And external issue and internal issue, you always know where you can control from your side and where you cannot control from your side. Whichever you are able to control is internal issue, whichever you cannot control is external issue. First pitching is the best pitching. If you have an idea, immediately throw it out, then only you will be told that you have the idea in your side and you are the best first person. Be simple and smart. Simple and smart is very important. Do not complicate any terms or get complicated because of terms. A person may use a word differently in every place, but the meaning is going to be common. Then you should not get complicated on that. Okay, you have to understand that all the words are same and common. So you don't duplicate the word. Always thank God. Realize when you met God last. So how do you realize when you met the God? If a person has helped you when you have don't you are out of money or you're out of water and someone has given you water, that person to be called as a God. Okay. Understand the limitations of life and money. That is very important for a business person. So if you are going to become a startup, you need to understand what is your limitation of your life. If you are capable of performing 24 hours, then only you can perform 24 hours. If you are capable of performing only 8 hours effectively, then you have to sleep the remaining hours and get relaxed. Okay, do not overstress yourself on the life. And money, understand the limitation of money, because uh, even with 1 rupee you will be able to do a great business. Even with 1 lakh you will be able to do a great business. So money is not a constraint. Within the limitations you need to understand and you have to build the business. Happiness is happening present. Happened past is history. To happen is future, which is mystery. Okay, don't worry about the future. Just be on the present and enjoy the happiness. These are the few things for all the innovations and entrepreneurs and startups. I hope the session was good and great. I thank all the people who have given me this opportunity, and I'm grateful to National Institute of Technology of Andhra Pradesh for this particular session. And I really appreciate the Ministry of and the Government of India who have involved themselves to initiate these kind of initiatives, because this is very very important. Okay, so if you are not going to focus a business as a business, you will not be able to really get into a concept of economical growth. Okay, So if you want your economy to grow, you need to become a business person. But you need to understand that you are going to serve some people and you will be served back. Okay? So these are all few things. Already we have plenty of entrepreneurs inside India. So if you find if you just do an analysis about them, the successful entrepreneurs, you will get a good pitch in. So I take the opportunity and I really appreciate your patience for listening me and encouraging me to extend some more time. All those things are really appreciable as a team. I thank one and all, and I leave the floor to Dr. V. Sudarshana Deepa. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you. Any questions?
Now the session is open for queries. The participants are requested to ask questions to the speaker.
Yeah.
Any questions from the speakers?
Madam, someone is typing in the chat, I think. Let me just.
Feedback forms, sir, we'll mail to you personally, sir. I think there is an issue in the URL. Maybe we'll mail to you in person.
Okay, so any questions in that chat is available for me? Madam is asking me feedback. Then send your email.
There is no questions in the feedback, sir. As of now, we don't have anything in the chat box. But the participants are requested to ask questions to the speaker.
Yeah. Any questions are there, or everything is understandable? I always say that silence is acceptance, as per Indian norm. So which I follow internationally also. I am basically based in Dubai, and I follow the plenty of informations and knowledges which I gain from India. I transfer and I keep intact. So if no one is asking questions, then I take the confidence that yes, everyone have understood. Okay?
Even I have understood, sir, because I was. It was really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for me before. But now I was able to know about what is the concept of this Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam and what is the focus based on its innovation, incubation, and startup, whatever it is. But blockchain also, it was really what to say. It was also Greek and Latin to me because we heard people saying, mostly the mechanical engineering people, they say more this term blockchain, especially in MBA.
Really?
When they have done a course with MBA, BE and MBA, BE mechanical and MBA, especially the production engineering area. We have heard this term about this blockchain, but of course now pertaining to this perspective of innovation, startup, and entrepreneurship, it is something new, really.
In fact, I would like to quote one thing. Okay? This management system appears in every engineering subject in the 8th semester. Okay? People have to identify that. That is the problem. So when you think about scoring marks, so like me, after 10 years, you will try to understand, oh my God, this was available in our 8th semester. So there was one question when I attended one of the IIT Kanpur session, where the IIT Kanpur professor asked, there are plenty of engineers available, but I don't see any engineer becoming an entrepreneur. They only try to go and work under some person. Okay, so there are two options available. So a running rabbit and a running lion. So if the lion is not able to catch a rabbit and rabbit escapes, it is a business person. Okay, and the lion is an employee. So if he is not going to get the prey, he will know that okay, someone else I will hit and eat. So he will leave the hope. But the rabbit always runs for the life. Okay, so business people run for the life, and employees always be in a comfort zone. So when you become an engineer, you need to understand what is the next level and how you are going to promote your knowledge. These points are already available, whatever I talked about management system. And as far as blockchain is concerned, blockchain also, it is applicable for each and every industry. Just you need to understand which use case can use that. Okay, because earlier it was only set as public, only everything should be transparent. Now it is not like that. It can be governed, and over a period there is a forecast, because of this AI, there is a possibility of 50% of reduction in employment. So how those employees are going to survive, who are not having employment, is a question mark. Today, I think you are seeing some videos on Amazon's store where no cashier is available. If you go inside, you just pick all the products which is connected with RFID, and it's scanning on its own by cameras. And as you exit out of the gate, your pocket will be swiped off. So no cashier is required, no person is required. You have to responsibly go inside and take things and come out. So that is the culture is coming around. So you have what is the incentive mechanism? Incentive mechanism, something like it is a crypto asset. Okay, so you have to use it for transaction. More transactional usage is required. For example, since the team is wide and good, I would also say that there is a concept of crypto asset called as Bitcoin and other things. You have to be a bit cautious when you are going inside those kind of things. Do not. The intention of a Bitcoin was to use it as a transactable token across the world. Okay, so one coin, if you give me one coin, I have to give something to you. It is a barter system, very old system. So exchange of values. So that is how this Bitcoin started. Unfortunately, now people are holding it within themselves, where they are keeping as a security instead of using it for transaction. So that will change. Okay? So over a period, those things would change as the countries are going into digital currency. Stability and rules and regulations are coming around. Those things will change. The interest is when a blockchain works, a transaction happens. Transaction will generate a token which is of a number. A good number of numbers will be there, and those numbers will be kept in your wallet, e-wallet. Okay? Normally, you are having a physical wallet; it will be an e-wallet. That wallet can be in hardware also. A hardware wallet also, for security reasons, you have multiple hardware wallets, and those wallets can always keep information. And when you want to transact, then you use that. For example, when you want to go to Europe, you cannot take Indian rupees and go, right? So you have to convert Indian rupees into euros and then travel to Europe. Similarly, tomorrow, if you are going to transact in one network and you have to pay in tokens, you need to convert that particular token and use it. So over a period, even salaries may come as token. That is possible. So this is the vision. Okay, so I don't want to bore up more. I hope everyone are taking the information, and they are going to really share it to the next generation. Okay, so please note, whatever you gain, you need to transfer. So knowledge sharing is very important. If you're not going to share, then you may not be able to really achieve your goal. Over, man. Thank you.
Shall we conclude, sir? Any participants are there to ask any questions? Shall we conclude? Yes. Okay, sir.
Sure.
So, good evening, one and all. It's my responsibility to propose the vote of thanks. First of all, my hearty thanks to our speaker, Mr. Mayappan Maslamani, who has given us insights about the Vasudeva Kudumbakam, focus on the innovation, startup, and entrepreneurship. And of course, it was a thought-provoking session, sir, because we were able to know about many things which we don't know actually. Yes. Maybe the topic it would be a different thing, but when we went to the way you explained to us, it was in a different way. Means even a layman could also understand it. It doesn't want any sort of technical understandability. That's what I felt through the entire session, because I was also not into so much of things. But when it was subject to focus on such type of things, we were able to think. At least we have some thoughts about, oh, this is also some of the important aspects for an entrepreneur before starting his own idea as a business. So apart from that, I thank the administration of NIT Andhra Pradesh, who has given us all the facilities to conduct this session. And of course, the most foremost important people are the Web and Network team, who has been supporting us in all our sessions. Even today, they have supported us with this YouTube live stream, as well as the Google Meet also, with hassle-free things. And last but not the least, the audience, who had some sort of interesting questions for the speakers and who made the session very, very interesting also. And thank you one and all. Thank you for the audience who have joined the session and made this session a grand success. Thank you very much. Yes. Now we can
Thank
we
you.
can
Thank you.
end the call.
I also thanks a lot for joining. In fact, I always say that opportunity given has to be taken. Persons who have not asked the questions can get an opportunity once again. Please utilize the opportunity. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.